All right, folks, another week, another What the F happened, and we are going to hit this one hard because there's a lot in the news. Now, I know one of the things some of you are probably looking at and have been is Bitcoin. Oh my God, it's going to the moon. It's over 60,000. We are going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what I know of, the economists that I follow, what they're saying about it, which seems like the story changes. Bitcoin's kind of that no man's land thing that nobody quite gets where it's going to go. Is it connected to the market? Is it correlated or is it not? But we're also going to talk a lot about the recession. We're going to talk about what JP Morgan and we're going to talk about Morgan and Stanley and what they're saying about the recession, and ain't going to be no soft landing. So these are just a few of the topics on top of Mr. Trump and Mr. the Dude or the Dud, whatever you want to call him. But we're going to hit a lot. So we will be right back after this. All right, back at it. What the F is the name of this show. For any of you that have joined us, you know the routine. We rant, we rave, and we will argue about what's in the news, what's happening in the economy, what's happening to your money, or is it really your money? Have you learned how to take back control of your money? Because that right there, control of your money, is the one thing all of you better really quickly get a grasp on and learn how to do that. Because if you don't, someone else is in control of your money. And who is that someone else? Well, Wall Street and the banks. And I'm just going to stop there because that's plenty. But I'm joined here today with Mr. Snaggy. What's happening down in Florida?
Hey, good morning. Just a beautiful day here in South Florida. We got the PGA Tour tournament in town this weekend. So always a lot of hype around that, although they changed the name from the Honda Classic to the Cognizant Classic. So if you're a golfer, a little change in names there. Other than that, we got the 3-day Money School Essentials training coming up this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Of course, we're doing a live preview event for that this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern. So you can join us to kind of get that kicked off tonight at 6. And we will be going hard all weekend, starting Friday morning at 10 a.m. Goes right through all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be changing a lot of lives. So looking forward to that, Chris. But other than that, a lot of stuff in the news to get to today. So haven't really had too much of a chance. It's been a busy week. I know you've been slammed morning to night with stuff as well. So we'll kind of hit this stuff as we go. If anybody has any good stories, throw them in the chat box. We'll rant, we'll rave, and we'll talk about them.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Yeah, Blake, running a little bit late today. Not every day can be dead on time. And this morning, just so much happening. But you know what? A lot happening in all of your lives, a lot happening in the news. If any of you have been paying attention, which I know a lot of people don't watch the news, and that's probably a good thing. That's probably a really good thing. Now, TikTok folks might watch the news a little more than the rest of you, but watching the news is kind of just like submitting yourself to constant lies, constant false information that makes you think and just kind of tries to, I don't want to say it tries to scare you, but it tries to lead you into a direction. At least that's what I've seen, because we all know the media is just there to sell ratings. That's it. And what sells ratings? Well, I can tell you one thing that sells ratings, and I can tell you CNN knows what sells ratings, and that is the big guy, Mr. Trump, one of the running candidates for this year's presidential nomination, and it's almost just another battle. It's already happening early. You get a lot of stuff on these. And we vowed in 2024, we are going to talk politics. I don't know enough about politics, so I'm just going to read off of the news. I don't like politics. I never have really followed politics. Everything I know about politics comes from my wife, and now she does know it. She went to school for it. She worked on Arnold Schwarzenegger's campaign trail back when he was, the governor of California or whatever. I mean, hell, I don't even know. But it is something that we like talking about because it is definitely an important election this year. And I think any of you that are watching this, any of you that are seeing what's going on out there, how important this election will be for the United States of America. I mean, just lay out some of the things that are happening. I mean, we got our hands in so many different things as a country. I mean, we got our hands in 2 wars right now, which some of those hands are escalating. And I don't know if you've been following that. It hasn't been quite in the news as much, but if you go outside the news and you go to the direct source, you can see that things aren't really going so well. You've got, just all these wars. You got the problems with geopolitics. You've got shipping lanes under attack. And that is definitely going to upset global trade. It's already happening. And here on our soil, what do you got going on? Well, a lot. Lots of court cases, right? Mr. Trump keeps losing these court battles, which is driving some crazy stuff to happen. It's all been all over the news. Truckers saying they're not going to ship to New York City because it's not a fair judgment. Whether it is or it isn't, it definitely doesn't seem right from where I sit. But that's a matter of opinion. But I'll tell you one thing that is right. And I want to get direct into this because we've got a 3-day Money School Essentials training going on this weekend, our virtual training that we've been doing for years. Our number one talked about event. It is definitely the best event we do, and it hits the most amount of people. But one of the things we're going to be doing in this event is we're going to be showing you how to prepare. We're going to show you how to prepare for what I'm going to read out of the news from Yahoo Finance today. And that is a hard landing recession is guaranteed. Now, I did say that. So pay attention, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, right here. A hard landing recession is guaranteed as the full impact of the Fed rate hikes have yet to hit the economy. Morgan Stanley. So when you read that, what do you think? Well, some of you probably sit there and you're probably thinking, wait a second, hard landing. All I keep hearing in the news is we're going to soft land this thing. The Fed's got this under control, right? Well, Morgan and Stanley's chief economist says, nope, they don't got it right. A hard landing recession is guaranteed. Now, that is the first time I've heard someone come in and say, rock solid, guaranteed. That's a tough word. It's a word that we use all the time when we're talking about the infinite banking concept, but it's a tough word for an economist to come out from a bank, a huge bank, to say guaranteed. So as you read into this, I think we've talked about this a lot, and we covered this in the 3-day, but we also show you how to prepare for this and how to actually not just prepare for a recession, get ready to make a shit ton of money. That's right. When a recession hits, when the economy falls, when hard times hit, all I can tell you is it opens the floodgates for opportunities if you're ready. And how do you get ready? Well, you get liquid, you get out of debt, you get yourself prepared so that you are not going to basically ride the markets down. And the one thing I've been saying forever, and I can't really understand why so many people, I guess a lot of people listen, but a lot of people fight it. We got a lot of haters, as you can only imagine, and we'll have some today, and that's just the nature of the beast. But why do people continue to plow money into the markets, into index funds, knowing you got literally it's tossing a coin right now, whether or not this thing is going to be okay or not. But when we're sitting at all-time highs, when the economy is not getting stronger, when every day in the news, you've got news articles about layoffs, unless all you're doing is just putting blinders on and just paying attention to NVIDIA and only just chasing just the positive news, which, hey, good. I like positive news. But if that's all you're chasing, you're not getting the whole picture. We talked about the Magnificent Seven. Why is the S&P 500 at all-time highs? Is it because 500 stocks are doing fantastic? Fuck no. Excuse my language. It's because 7 stocks are doing extraordinarily well, but largely due to speculation, and I would go as far as saying manipulation, and AI. But AI is still so new, it's hard to really wrap your head around what is it going to be. And all these companies are crushing it on their earnings reports because of speculation. 7 stocks are holding the entire S&P 500 up. How does that make you feel about investing in the S&P 500, knowing that there's 500 stocks and only 7 of them are propping the entire thing up? Because to me, it doesn't make me feel good. I haven't had money in the markets forever. I've got a lot of treasury bonds, a lot of treasury bills. I'm even shorting the markets, which has obviously, if any of you would guess, not been paying off, but it will. You just got to wait it out. And Burry could tell you all about that. So when we get into the effects of the stimulus wearing off, it's like going out drinking, right? You go to Las Vegas, you drink all night, everything seems fine until it kind of sets in the next morning. And then later in that day, you drink your coffee, you do your Advil or Motrin or however you handle your hangover. Some of you just crack another beer. Stephen, is that what you do? You just crack another beer? I hear that works. That's a tough pill to swallow. But, then later in the day, the fatigue sets in, the headache sets in, all the things from the hangover from the night before starts going out. Now, I say that just as a parallel because that's essentially where we're at in the economy. We're starting to kind of get into that little phase of the hangover. And the hard landing is guaranteed for the U.S. Morgan Stanley's chief U.S. economist has said. She said the full impacts of the Federal Reserve's tightening haven't been fully felt in the economy, which makes sense. It's a hangover. It takes time for that to run its course. It could take 18 months after the last rate hike to feel the full weight of higher rates. Now, let me pause right there. And I love the questions coming in, folks. We're going to hit them, but I really want to explain something. Now, I've been in this business in the financial world for over 20 years now. Yes, I'm getting old, but over 20 years. And the one thing I will tell you is just when you think things are going to be okay is when they aren't. And the markets are absolutely perfect for taking advantage of you like that because it just seems like everything's okay. We're setting new highs. Everything's good. Bitcoin's over 60,000, which different discussion on that in a sec. But it's just when you start getting comfortable, when you start thinking, oh, I think it's going to be okay. That Chris Naugle guy and Stephen they've been wrong this whole time. All the economists that have said them, beware, get in liquid positions, get out of the markets, take your gains off the table. You've heard us say this a bunch of times. You start doubting it because every day you wake up and the market's setting new highs and doing more. But that's the trick. That's called manipulation. That's definitely what gets you in trouble because then all of a sudden it just lets loose. It's like Noah's Ark, right? It's just like they had to load all the animals on and then all of a sudden the rain just started dumping out and it was over, right? If you weren't on the boat, oh well, you were done. And that's maybe a bad example, but a hard landing recession is certain to come for the economy, and high rates are to blame even as markets start positioning for the Federal Reserve to loosen monetary policy. It's a lagging effect, is what she's saying. And then it just goes on to just keep talking about the reasons why this, but this is the first time I've heard somebody say the word guaranteed, but not just somebody, an economist, not just an economist working for one of the largest banks, which you would think a bank would not want to have economists going live on Yahoo Finance saying, oh, it's guaranteed we're going to be in a recession. That's not good when banks are on slippery slopes right now, not doing so well, right? Banks are in a little bit of a predicament. I mean, we had some issues last March. A bunch of banks went out of business. Well, went insolvent, I guess is the better way to say it. But then the Fed stepped in and saved the day. But pretty soon the Feds saved the day. That liquidity they provided is coming to an end. Now, could they extend it? Sure. But we're about to see the effects of that. Stephen, what do you have to say about all of that I just unpacked about this economist from Morgan Stanley coming on saying a recession is guaranteed? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not the only one, it appears, thinking that way, and they're not the only ones saying it by any means at this point. I mean, if we look at kind of what some of the big dogs are doing, they're calling it the great cash out. So Jeff Bezos, Leon Block, Jamie Dimon, the Walton family have now sold a combined $11 billion in company stocks this month, some for the first time ever. And so it's just bringing into question, are they kind of seeing, hey, we're at all-time highs. Let's cash out while we can and take some of this money off the table. I mean, Jamie Dimon, I believe, has never sold a stock. His first cashing out since taking the job at the bank 18 years ago.
Do you think Jamie Dimon might know some things we don't know, Stephen?
Jeff Bezos literally moved from the state of Washington or Oregon, wherever he was up there, down to South Florida, Miami, just so he didn't have to pay the additional state taxes that they impose on stock sales to save hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes, just so he could start selling. So I think these guys might know a little something that the everyday person might not, Chris. Yes.
That's awesome. Jim Collins coming in from YouTube was kind of just saying in a comment exactly what you just said. Bezos selling billions in stock. Well, it's exactly what you were just saying. So you're thinking alike. Some people are paying attention, but then there's some people that aren't, because we got Kim Jong Chil coming in on TikTok. Where do you think Kim Jong lives? I don't know. We're just going to leave that one alone. But it said, look at this guy push panic and fake gold bars. Like I said,
We've never definitely not brought up gold.
Yep. That's
the scary part with that, Chris,
then
though,
Kim Jong Chil say, why lie? I read it from the news. I mean, the news could be lying, but that's what I'm trying to say is, the haters are going to hate, but we always got a hug for them. Kim, I got a hug for you. Come on, hug it out. Come on. Oh, it feels so good, doesn't it? Yeah. Slap you on the ass and send you on your way. And then you probably sue me because of sexual abuse or something. Anyway, times have changed.
There's a couple other interesting kind of indicators on what's going on if you look kind of a little outside the box. So this would be a big one. We haven't talked about this in a couple of years now, but Bitcoin jumping back above 60,000 for the first time since November of 2021. So it'll be interesting to kind of hear. I mean, why is this happening? Are people kind of starting to think, let's hedge, against if the markets do crash, what is going on? I just saw this interesting statistic this morning. Pull this one up. So it's just talking about over the last, some of the different GDP growth and some of the different statistics that have been released. But check this one out, Chris. So in Q4 of this last year, the GDP, the U.S. economy grew by $334 billion. But get this, our national debt is so high that during that same time period, we paid $834 billion in debt. So we had to pay $834 billion in debt to get $334 billion of growth. So think about that for a minute.
Yeah, the debt payments now are over $1 trillion.
So when does this start, saying, okay, well, that's a huge problem. And, is that why, people are starting to look at things like Bitcoin?
Yeah. And I think it probably is. I think there's probably a lot of reasons. I mean, listen, like, I'm not a Bitcoin expert, but I have over the last couple of years, just because of our position, been forced to learn. And we have this guy, Spencer, who is brilliant when it comes to not just Bitcoin, but also just crypto as a whole and blockchain. And he taught us a lot. He came on to our 3-day trainings, and really, really poured his heart out on what he's learned. And he's been in it for a very long time. But I've read a couple books about it. So the one thing that I do understand about Bitcoin is the problem that it solves. And kind of like what you just said, Stephen, like that problem is just uncertainty of the dollar, uncertainty of a digital dollar, just plain out uncertainty that drives people to want to go decentralized and just have a safe store for their wealth. And is Bitcoin that? I think that's the question. That's really the question. So we're at 60,000. How much higher could it go? Because now we're approaching all-time highs. So it's either going to break all-time highs and push higher, and then where does it stop? Because that's no man's land. We haven't been there. Kind of like the stock market. Where's the market going to go? Well, we have no baseline to go any higher because we're setting all-time highs. It's a very unique time. But it's also a unique thing that you need to pay attention to. Although it's great that Bitcoin's at 60, but it also should get some of you thinking, like, when should I take my gains off the table? That's really what it should be. There's two ways to play any investment. You can play the short game or you can play the long game. If you're playing the long game, just buckle up, put the blinders on, you'll be just fine, especially Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin indefinitely, just by its sheer nature of its limited, there's only so many Bitcoins out there, and the halving now and all the different things. I might have said that wrong. Like I said, I'm not a Bitcoin expert. I'm just being fully transparent, but there's so many things going on with Bitcoin that will probably drive the price higher. However, the thing you got to understand is Bitcoin and the stock markets are very correlated, which means they're very interconnected right now. So if the markets are going higher, or I should say if Bitcoin's going higher, usually the markets are following. But when does that shift? When does the stock market give way? When do we start heading back down the other side? And does Bitcoin follow it down? The answer, based on everything we know about Bitcoin to date, would be yes. Absolutely. When the markets go, Bitcoin goes, or when Bitcoin goes, the markets go. I don't know which is following which, but they're definitely, one is following the other. So you got to look at that. If you're going to play Bitcoin long-term, great. Play long-term. Don't watch it when it goes down, because it certainly will. It will correct. It just always has to happen. It's too new not to, but in the long run, I think it's going to be an awesome investment. What are your thoughts on that, Stephen? And I'd love the audience's thought on Bitcoin and where they all think it's going.
I don't know. I've never been a fan, honestly. I've been talked about that a lot. It just doesn't make sense to me. I like things that I can follow and make sense. The stock market right now does not make sense to me. Bitcoin, I don't see I understand the underlying technology. I understand blockchain. From my understanding, though, things like Ethereum have use cases. They can be used to power decentralized apps. They have use cases. The blockchain ledgers have use cases. You can use it for voting. If we really wanted to make voting safe, that blockchain ledger technology, there's no way, from my understanding, to subvert that, to create fraud with that and corruption. And maybe that's why we don't use that in elections. Who knows? But, things like that, where Bitcoin, from my understanding, it's the OG, it's the original. It's why it's such high value. But at the end of the day, other than if we use it as a currency in some way,
that won't happen.
have the power. It doesn't have the power that those other ones do. Some of those other ones do. So I don't know. I just don't get it, Chris. But
well, I don't either. That's why I was kind of asking. And some people know it a lot better than us. But listen, I'm old school. I've read all Warren Buffett's books, and the thing I'm always going to go back to is Bitcoin has zero intrinsic value. It is a value based on what everybody's willing to pay for it. That is its value. And you can derive that value from lots of different things. Oh, there's only so many of them. Oh, that's this. Oh, the use case. Oh, the problem solves. But it has no intrinsic value. It doesn't have a balance sheet. It's not like going out and buying Apple and you're like, okay, Apple owns buildings and they own this and they've got inventory and they got tons of shit and lots of cash in the bank. Bitcoin just has a price that is a price that people are willing to pay. And that is how it gets its value. So you've got to always remember that. So I don't know. It's not something I invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I have for a long time. And I learned it from Spencer. And all I do is I dollar cost average in. Every single week, I buy a little Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum. But what I have done for the years that I've been doing that is when it goes high, like now, I dump. I sell it. And people think that I'm crazy for doing that. But you know what? When I get my tax statement at the end of the year from Coinbase, guess what my tax statement has? A little green plus. I like those green pluses, Stephen. Don't you? I don't like the negatives, like that big red minus. I like the little pluses. So I'm not trying to hit, swing for the fences with Bitcoin. I'm just trying to make a small little gain over and over and over again. And then I'm a happy man. And I don't have to explain anything to anybody. I think you all understand it. But how you play it is completely up to you. But do not invest in Bitcoin or any crypto if you don't know, like, and understand it. That's all I would say. If you don't know, like, and understand what it is you invest in, you stand to lose, which is exactly why I cannot understand why so many people put money into 401k plans and then they allocate. I get it all the time. People ask us all the time. They allocate the money to the Freedom 2024 fund or the Freedom 2045 fund. And I ask them, why did you pick that one? I don't know. Oh, what does it invest in? I don't know. Why did you buy this stock? I don't know. That is probably 98% of the United States of America, probably the world. People invest in their 401ks and have no freaking clue what they're putting their money in because they don't know, like, and understand what they're investing in. They're just like, I don't know. I got a tax deduction on it. Great. You got yourself a tax deduction. You didn't have to pay tax on the money going into the 401k. But you know what's going to happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when you do start taking money out of the 401k, you are going to pay tax on it unless it's a Roth. You're going to pay tax. And do you think tax rates are going to be higher then than they are now? Yep. Do you think the money's going to be worth less then than it is now? Yep. Inflation isn't going to stop. You're taking weaker dollars out at a higher tax rate. Who wins? The freaking government and Uncle Sam. That's who you're playing the game for? Great. Why are you on today's show? Don't come to Wealth Webinar. Don't buy a ticket to the 3-day event because we can't help stupidity. But it's just logical thinking. So back over here, I got to hit this one, Stephen, because Kim Jong-chil is still coming at it. So I want to get a fact check. And audience, can you help me this? We need to do some due diligence here. Kim Jong-chil said Jeff cashed out 4 years ago. Okay. So, we were just hearing that that was the first time he had cashed out his stock. And Kim Jong-chil is saying Jeff cashed out 4 years ago. Why stroke fear and lies? Negative thinker. And Jamie cashed out multiple times. So the news just said the complete opposite. But again, the news does lie too. So can anyone verify if Kim Jong chill and Kim Jong chill needs to chill about the stroking lies and fear? Like, the news is fear every freaking day. This show's about the news. So what do you think it's going to be? Kim Jong chill? Chill out, Kim. Drink a margarita, do a shot, crack a beer, drink a coffee, or just go to sleep. You got to chill yourself. What do we got?
I mean, I didn't say Bezos, first time Bezos sold. I said it's the first time in 18 years since joining JP Morgan that Jamie Dimon sold. Bezos has sold stock before, but he's selling more than ever before, and he moved to save hundreds of millions on taxes. That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. So Kim Jong Chill knows more than we do, coming in from TikTok. Do you want to point that out? I didn't, not trying to throw any caution to the wind, but TikTok, like, that's probably the one place I wouldn't listen to. But hey, everybody's got the same thing. Now, this is awesome. Sharon Novik is coming in from TikTok, and Useless Knowledge says, you have my maiden name spelled the same way, Naugle. Not bad. I don't hear many people with my last name, Naugle. So nice to meet you, Sharon. Anyway, what else we got, Stephen? What do we got in the news here?
It seems like the layoffs continue across the tech world with Bumble, which I believe is a dating app, lays off 350 employees as tech industry job cuts continue. So if we look kind of down through the article a little bit, we've now had more than 170 tech companies cut nearly 44,000 jobs here recently. So that's continuing to roll along. Did you follow the whole debacle with Google's AI system?
No, let's hear.
Gemini. So,
oh boy.
So Google came out with their and this article's not about it, but came out with their own AI system called Gemini, and it's you can use the other AIs. You ask it questions, and it converses with you, and you ask it to do things, and it creates pictures or creates stories, or tells you what's happening. And so they released that last week, and it blew up online because essentially everything that you think of when you hear the words like DEI and woke and all the crap that's destroying this country right now, basically Gemini was built on that foundation with zero flexibility to leave that little tiny weird little world of woke DEI progressive Democrats right now. So for example, you would say, show me the founding fathers of the United States of America, and it would put up a black guy, an Indian woman, every different type of person except a white person. You would ask it to show you basically anything. You could try and prompt it, like, show me an American that dances badly, and it would show you everything but a white person. It literally, no matter what you asked it, would not show you a white person, which is just bizarre. You would ask it to show you a family, a traditional American family, and it would show you all these just very diverse, and it was just a very strange thing. So everything you would ask this thing, people were asking, like, what was worse, Elon Musk tweeting memes or Hitler? And it would say, well, that's an interesting question. There's no way for us to decide whether the effect of Elon's tweets affected people the way that Hitler did during World War II. Like, it literally couldn't even tell you that Hitler, who killed millions of people, Jewish people specifically, was worse than Elon Musk sending out memes, like things like that. So, and it's just example after example after example. I'm not going to pull them all up right now. So anyway, so Google came out a few days later and said, we're sorry, we're shutting it down. We're going to fix the problems now. Obviously, they're not going to fix the problems. They're going to make it where it's not so just in your face. They'll make it a little bit more subtle, but essentially they're rewriting history. I mean, we use Google for everything. If you ask Google something, we take it as fact. And when you can ask a system like this something and it rewrites history, it completely changes history 100%. Like, where does that leave us in the world, in society? So, some people caught on to that. A lot of people cheered it on and loved it, but it looks like Google stock, obviously parent company Alphabet, took a little bit of a hit from that. But it just brings up the broader question of, where do we go with AI? Who's building the AI? And what does that look like? Because these tech industries, as we know, are full of these crazy purple-haired, in my opinion, mentally disturbed people, and it's streaming into society now.
Yeah, it is. It's but here, Stephen, I'm going to take the other side of that. It is
Please.
streaming into society. They are trying to drive a narrative. They are trying to really push all of this stuff, but isn't, in my opinion, I think it's backfiring. And statistics will show that in all the stuff you're seeing, it is literally backfiring. People are pushing back against it, and they're starting to wake up a little bit. Unlike, when the pandemic was happening, I feel like a lot of us were just sleeping, red pill, blue pill. I mean, you could figure that one out. But I feel like a lot of people are pushing back. I think people are waking up, seeing that this is all bullshit, nonsense, dividing. And really, I feel, from what I've seen, not entirely, but I feel like it's starting to come back together, which would be awesome. What do you think? Do you see? I mean, you live in Florida, so you're a bad person to ask, but even here in New York, I've seen a drastic shift here in New York, in my little area where I live, because I don't really go out too much. But I've definitely seen people's mentalities change about how all this is playing out. I've heard people talking, about the dude in a, the people that love the dude talking about the dude in a completely different light, not a positive light, being like, yeah, I think we were wrong. Like, things are falling apart. Things don't look good. I'm scared. I'm nervous. Like, I don't want to, the U.S. to go into war, blah, blah, blah. It's all the stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing a little bit of a change. Now, maybe I'm just an optimist, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the pendulum. It's always going to swing real far one way. You're going to have pushback. It's going to swing back the other way. It just seems like right now we're swinging real far. Yeah. And we're having a little back, and then we're swinging even further and having a little back and a little further. So let's hope that really massive swing comes back, because it is
it's an election year, Stephen.
It's a big problem. I mean, you have people, I don't know if you like people like Joy Reid, who's a huge, star on MSNBC and one of the major hosts of primetime MSNBC News. And she was out this week with a monologue talking about comparing children being born in this country. Why do we need children in this country being born when we have all these illegal immigrants that are coming in to the country? Like, we don't need kids being born, American citizens being born, because we have plenty of people coming into the country. Like, this is mainstream news for a lot of these people. And so I have to assume, though, that you're right, Chris, that we're going to have this major pushback. And interesting enough, we'll see what happens. I mean, it is an election year, so we'll see where that goes.
Well, to go right in what you're saying, right in the news, it says Hims and Hers soars 31% on rapid growth in mental health, weight loss, and dermatology treatments. So I don't know how that plays in, but maybe it does a little bit. Yes, Cash is late. I don't know where Cash is. He's usually always here for the show. I'm sure he'll make a late appearance and just do what he's doing. But Stephen, over here, go ahead.
So we changing topics?
No, go ahead.
Something we talk about a lot is surge pricing. We've talked about it with Private Money Club. We've talked about it how, things like Uber use it. I think it's a really interesting strategy. So I saw in the news this week that Wendy's is coming out with an idea for surge pricing. So I'd like to just hear everyone's thoughts on this. I mean, I don't eat at Wendy's.
Do you want a Frosty? And if there's a lot of other people that want a Frosty, the price goes up?
Yeah, like imagine going at lunchtime when it's busy and all of a sudden you're paying twice for your cheeseburger because of surge pricing. I don't know. What do you think about this idea?
Well, I don't know. I'm probably not the right one to answer because I don't eat at places like that, but I think that's just nonsense.
It's pretty wild, though, right?
I feel like that will backfire on them.
Yeah, right.
It's just funny sometimes how these people, just swing so heavy into something that definitely I think would not go over very well. Would any of you embrace that? I mean,
the bigger picture is why. Why almost has to do with costs. I mean, are cost of things getting so expensive that they need to justify charging that much more? I mean, let's face it, this is just an increase in pricing, making it sound better than it is. I mean, that's what it is. So is inflation, are they planning inflation's just, we're never going to get inflation under control again, and they're looking for alternative ways to raise prices? Where are we at right now? I mean, I don't see inflation being under control with what's going on right now, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I love this statement coming in from Derek Kaufman over there on YouTube. He said, I don't understand all this weird stuff. I'm just starting to figure out my MySpace. Yes. Love it. Then up to another one. True Seeker from YouTube said, I want to know where the elites are putting their money once they sell all their stocks. Well, True Seeker, the good news is we actually do have that data, and we've done a bunch of YouTube videos, and it's not just one place, but I will tell you, like the wealthy, the elites, a lot of their money is definitely sitting in treasury bonds and treasury bills. That's a fact. Okay. You can look at that. That's actually public knowledge that you can actually see that. And I mean, we can go back a couple hundred years. The elites have always put their money into, Stephen, where have the elite stored their capital?
They very common to store it in their own privatized banking systems through a vehicle known as whole life insurance policies. Which is what we refer to as becoming your own bank, or the infinite banking concept. And it's been the most powerful strategy for over 200 years, and something we implement in our lives daily, and we teach other people how to do. We'll talk a lot about that this weekend on the 3-day Money School training.
And it's funny, you know, we're the types that just, we're very transparent. So we always tell you it's a whole life policy. It's a specially designed and engineered whole life. But when you're talking to the elites and you're looking at anything referring to the elites and where their wealth is, they never call it whole life. It's always private banking or privatized banking or the Rockefeller family banking system. What funds all that? Where is all that money held? Freaking insurance companies, folks. It has never changed. Heck, the traditional banks where you put your deposits, they put their money a completely different place than they tell you to put your money. Because look it up, FDIC.gov, type in BOLI, B-O-L-I. Where are banks like Morgan Stanley, all of the banks? I'm trying to think of the big ones. Bank of America. I got a whole list. They're all putting their money in BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. And what is bank-owned life insurance? It's a fancy way of saying whole life insurance. Always been the same thing. So where do the wealthy, the elites, and the banks put their money? A place where you've been told your whole life is the worst place to put money. Doesn't that make you kind of wake up and be like, what the hell is going on here? They're saying not to do that, but then the wealthy are putting their money there. Who do I believe? I always say, follow the money and you'll find the truth eventually. And that's what we did. And that's what we teach. This weekend, the 3-day Money School Essentials, we're going to do something that we've never done. We're going to literally lean heavily into businesses. How many of you own businesses? Put it in the chat. How many of you are business owners in any capacity? We're going to show you how to use the infinite banking concept for business uses. And we're going to do it showing a really cool scenario of equipment purchases, because a lot of companies need equipment purchases, but we dumbed it down and we just did junk removal. Why? I don't know. A bunch of people seem to be getting into this junk removal business. And what do you need in junk removal? Trucks. So we're going to show you how to get all the money back for all the junk removal trucks you're ever going to buy, drive, and own in your business, and how big of a difference it is when you take and learn how to build private banking systems like we teach, and you use a process called the infinite banking concept. We're going to literally show you side by side this weekend, Friday to be specific. We're going to show you how much you would give the banks, the traditional banks, if you just financed all your trucks using bank financing. And then we're going to show you if all you did is started to finance one vehicle, and then go from there, 1, then 2, then 3 with your private banking system, what the difference is after a period of time. It will blow your mind. I mean, you literally aren't ready for the truth. You're not ready to see the difference, and you're not ready to articulate how much money in our lives we give to the banks in interest, all money that we could have kept. You could have kept control of your money. You could have kept all the interest you have given away in your entire life. You want to learn how? Get to the 3-day event. Shameless plug. I know the show's not about us trying to sell you a ticket to the 3-day, but son of a pup, you want to learn this stuff? You want to know where the elites put their money, how they use their money? Join us. We'll tell you. Okay. So back to the news and a couple other things. I love David and Dorothy said conformity. Conformity is the fastest way to failure. You don't like that? I know Kim Jong Chil probably doesn't like that, but you want to fail? Conform. That is it. Listen to Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret in the World, tells you the whole thing, talks about the studies on how conforming to other people's ideas, failed realities, is the fastest way to fail. So I love it. Thanks, David and Dorothy, for being on.
Yeah.
Oh, what else we got, Stephen?
So this is interesting, Chris. We've been talking a lot about this, and it's really starting to come to fruition. But average credit card balances jump 10% to a record 6,360. More consumers fall behind on payments. Total credit card debt has reached a record $1.13 trillion in the latest quarter, according to the Federal Reserve Bank. And check out, I mean, look at this. Look at this
Dude,
chart.
that's insane. Hold on.
Money.
Because TikTok's not going to believe me. I got to just show it to him. I got to just show it. So hang on here, TikTok. Where do I flip this screen around? Anyway, whatever. I'll just show him this. Go back to that chart. You guys see that? Isn't that just awesome? Look at that craziness. Like, that's your credit card balances. That's how fast it's grown. I mean, that's just a couple of years. Like, don't you wish your stock portfolio went up like that? Oh, sorry. Your stock portfolio probably has gone up like that because it's all manipulation. That right there is why when you go out in the street, you go to a restaurant, why when you're looking around, it just seems like everybody's got money right now. That's why. Credit cards. Everybody's got credit. You know why? Because everybody's got a job until they don't. The three-legged stool is held up by one leg right now, and that is employment. As long as employment stays where it is, as long as unemployment numbers stay low, we can continue down this charade of just madness and credit card debt and just pretending everything's okay. But the second we lose employment, the second unemployment starts ticking up, which it will, guaranteed by Morgan Stanley, it will, the third leg of the stool breaks off. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Look at this, Chris. Credit card delinquency surged more than 50% in 2023. According to TransUnion, serious delinquencies, or those 90 days or more past due, reached the highest level since 2009.
Why isn't that headline news every single day? Don't you think that's important to know? 50% surge in defaults? What are the defaults on car loans? Because car loans are probably one of the biggest bubbles about to burst. I mean, the average car loan out there, the payment's over $700 now. I mean, that's just a ticking time bomb. And there's more car loans, there's more auto loans out there than there is student loans now.
You want to know why it's not headline news? Because our legacy media are literally just propagandists. I mean, this is their headline news from ABC, from a quote from Biden. Thanks to the American people, America now has the strongest growth, the lowest inflation rate of any major economy in the world. It's because of you, he said in January 25th. Like, you just read this over and over, how great the economy is and everybody's doing awesome. And it's pure gaslighting.
All right.
Let me give you one more example.
Kudos to the dude, man. The economy's crushing it. Awesome. No problem. Nothing to see here. Credit card debt's not a problem. The government's debt, the deficit that we're running, and I mean, not a problem at all. Our GDP's doing awesome compared to our debt and our debt payments. I mean, we're crushing it. Fucking awesome.
Let me show you why we do the show, because they just lie to you. Like, it's bizarre. So this is out of Colorado, a local news channel. So Colorado's been, I love Colorado. It's one of the most beautiful states in the country, in my opinion. I think they've really lost their way over the last decade. And so you see a lot of stuff like this coming out of Colorado. So they've been having a lot of, these illegal immigrants coming to Denver and to the Colorado area. And it's really hurting their funding. They don't have money for it. They don't have money to give these people and keep them and everything like that. So they're slowly laying people off, government workers. But listen to this real fast. This is wild to me right here. Hopefully you can hear this.
Headlines that it's laying off employees in order to pay for the migrant crisis. But the city is telling hourly employees that they may have their hours reduced to zero. Just don't call them layoffs.
So basically,
don't call them layoffs.
They're saying, listen, we're not laying you off, but we're reducing your hours to zero. Like, I mean, if that's not the epitome of what's going on right now, it's unbelievable, man.
Hey, we're not firing you. We're just giving you 0 hours. But don't tell anybody you got fired. You're not fired. You just aren't going to be working anymore and getting a paycheck anymore. And oh, by the way, your benefits, until we decide to say you're working again, your benefits are also going to be cut off. So good luck getting your kids, to the doctor or prescriptions. But you're not fired. You're not laid off. Holy shit, that's awesome. Actually, I don't mean that's awesome, but that just fits the narrative. The dude is crushing it. The dud. Anyway, you all know we have to, we can't use the dude's name anymore. TikTok these folks over here they'll cancel us. They'll just take us offline, and we won't be able to talk to the whole 24 people on TikTok. Do you folks realize, like, not long ago, a year ago, we had thousands of people on TikTok, and now TikTok doesn't like us because we tell the truth, or to them, we talk about the truth, and they suppress us now. Yep, that's how it works, folks. But it's okay, because Kim Jong Chil, she doesn't care if we're on there anyway. But and anyone that does, any of the cool people over on TikTok, just come over to one of the other channels like Instagram. Instagram's awesome. Kudos to Instagram. And YouTube fucking kicks ass. Now, I hate to say YouTube and who it's owned by, but still, YouTube's pretty badass. You got to put it there.
So we can't go through a show without talking about your friend Jim Cramer.
Oh boy, what's Jim doing now?
So this is peak Cramer right here. Look at this. Look at this, Chris. So this was a tweet on January 22nd this year, 2024, from Jim Cramer. Unlikely that Bitcoin finds its footing. Notice where Bitcoin price is. Look what's happened since January 22nd.
Oh my God, that is funny. But that is also scary to look at that right there too. But I mean, yeah, Jim, listen, like, you guys want to lose money, you need a great tax deduction. Just follow Jim Cramer. You will never pay taxes on any capital gains in your portfolio ever again. Just listen to Jim Cramer. Every time he says buy, buy. Every time he says sell, sell. And you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. You'll have tax deductions your whole life. Bitcoin up 175% since Cramer said that.
January of last year, good chance again to get out of crypto and scale out of Chinese stocks, as neither can be trusted. Here's what it's done since.
Oh, gosh, let's see. Let's just hit let's hit some YouTube stuff. I just want to make sure there's nothing here that we're missing from stuff coming in. The dud is the 45th president, skips over president. Oh, Tim said, I heard AI says the dud is the 45th president. Just skipped right over President Trump. Yeah. All right. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. We got Shauna chiming in. Let's see. Love it. Supply and demand. I'm just making sure we're not missing anything. Oh, yeah. Disney reminds me of the Disney Fast Pass. Yeah, there's a lot we could say about Disney, but maybe we'll save that for next week. All right. So, Stephen, just take a look through that. We got Steve McCarthy on as well. What's up, Steve? But I do want to hit on this. CNBC, this should come as a surprise to some of you. Apple, the almighty Apple, cancels plans to build an electric car. Wonder why. Stephen, why would Apple not want to build an electric car when electric cars are all the rage, man? That's what everybody wants. I mean, come on. GM and Ford and all the big guys are just building electric cars because everybody wants them, right? Have you driven by a dealership lately? Any of you been driving down the road? You drive by a dealership? What cars do you see littered in the dealership lots? Well, forget about used cars, but what new cars do you see? Electric, right? They're almost all electric. But if you go into the dealership, and I did this just recently at a Mercedes dealership, and I said, hey, you guys got tons of electric cars. Where's all the gas-powered bi-turbo V8s? Oh, we don't have any of those. Well, why? Oh, they're back-ordered. What do you mean back-ordered? Like, if I want to get this truck or that car, like, it's back-ordered? Yeah. But then why do you have all these electric cars? Because nobody's buying them. We got great incentives on them. Great incentives. You can pick one of those up, the electric jobber out there, and like, we'll give you a great deal on it. But yeah, if you want that gas powered bi-turbo V8, yeah, you're going to be waiting 2 years. You think Apple maybe picked up on that one a little bit and was like, hey guys, we should probably wait on this electric car thing. Maybe Apple should just take one from Toyota and say, hey, maybe a really good strategy would be to build like a 3 or 4 cylinder super efficient engine and then pair that up with a battery. Novel idea. So when the battery runs out, the gas powered engine kicks in, the braking charges the battery, and the gas powered engine can serve as a generator for charging the battery. Whoa. Toyota kind of had it right with the Prius, man. Badass idea. Don't know how we were swung so far to the other side of saying electric cars are the wave of the future because hybrids just suck, right? Anyone got a hybrid? Anyone? You like it? I mean, it's got a gas-powered engine, kind of gets you from point A to point B when the electric battery's dead. And then when you hit the brakes, it actually charges. And when your gas-powered engine's running, it can charge the battery. Not too shabby.
Yeah, those seem pretty cool. Isn't that the Porsche, the Taycan is hybrid, right?
Yeah. No. That's all
fully
electric, which is why you couldn't get a Taycan when they first came out, or Taycan, and now they're like, shoot, I think they're close to. Look that up. How far have the prices of the Porsche Taycan fallen since they were launched? I think it's like 40%. But I guess everybody wants electric cars, right?
Yeah, car prices are definitely coming down a bit right
Big
now.
time, big time.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just looking through the stuff here. Oh yes, that's right. Ed, I don't know if it's Ed or Eddie. Sadly, there are a great deal of sheepies out there. Yep, we call them conformers. Kind of like transformers, which I guess actually was pretty relevant today. You got transformers and conformers. I never actually. I should probably leave that one alone.
Yeah, just leave that as a joke.
Anyone see the new Transformers movie? It's a pretty badass movie. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, right? Anyway,
I didn't even know that Apple, though, to your question earlier, I didn't even know that Apple was making an electric car, to tell you the truth.
Nor did I, until I saw the fact that they're now canceling plans to build an electric car.
I guess it was a thing, though. But now I'm seeing that, people are saying maybe Apple should buy Rivian.
Oh, this is awesome. Oh my gosh. This just showed up in the news. Steven, we got to go here because we haven't really talked politics at all. But, our famous Hunter Biden, you all know Hunter Biden, the dude's son, the dud's son. He testifies behind closed doors as part of a GOP impeachment inquiry. I think I got to read a little bit more about that. So does anyone know about that? Hunter Biden, I mean, a man of truth. Right? He is just blessed with truth. I mean, nothing that comes out of this man's mouth is a lie. It's all the truth. Yeah, you should watch the videos. But let's see. What is he doing? Hunter Biden will appear this week. Lawmakers. At no point during his 50-year business career was Joe Biden involved in his work. Point made. Yep. So told lawmakers that at no point during his 50-year business career was Joe Biden, involved in his work. Interesting. Do I need to read any more? A man of truth. Only the truth. Yep. President was not involved in his family's business dealings or has been unable to provide any evidence. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's no evidence. I mean, just like those emails back in the day for, what was her name? Nothing to see here, nothing wrong, nothing at all. How about all those people that just mysteriously just passed away, when they started talking a little bit about, anyway, old news. None of that stuff matters. None of that matters. Let's see. There's got to be something cool in the news. Transformer movie, another Barbie sequel coming out. That's some good stuff. Wow. Yeah, so Lucas loves his Prius. Let's see. All the hybrids at my dealership. So here we go. Justin, runs a dealership. He said all the hybrids at my dealership are 4 months out for the RAV4, the Sienna. I mean, some of the new Toyotas are pretty badass. I got to say, I'm not
badass. Yeah.
I'm not a Toyota guy. I know you are, Steven. I'm not a Toyota guy, but I got to give Toyota props, serious props, because the new lineup, those vehicles are awesome. I mean, Toyota for the longest time, outside of like Tacomas, which are just a staple, but Toyotas for the longest time, I think were kind of boring looking, right? They were just kind of run of the mill. Nothing about them got me excited, but the new ones, man, they are pretty awesome. The other day, Steven, I was driving and in front of me, kind of off to the in the right-hand lane, was this all blacked out car. And I'm looking at this thing. I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, what the hell is that? What kind of a car do you think it was? I mean, it was sweet. What do you think it was? Justin probably knows. A Toyota Camry. Does anyone think Camry's a really badass car? Have you seen the new blacked out Camrys? It will change your mind. And I bet you that car gets 45 miles to the gallon on a gas-powered engine. None of that hybrid or even electric stuff mixed in there. And not only that, that car will go 200,000+ miles and probably not even need tire changes. I'm kidding about that. But, I mean, Toyotas are one of the most resilient, just lowest maintenance vehicles I think I've ever seen. And oh, by the way, we are not being paid by Toyota to advertise for them. But if they want to send us a check, they can. We'll put it to more marketing. Let's see. Avalon on the scene. Yep, TRD that's what it is. TRD Camrys. Yeah, they've come a long way. Anyway, we're just rambling on here. So, Stephen, what else is going on? Anything in the
last weekly, we always talk about this. Just 7% interest rates continue this week and are hitting the mortgage demand hard. So we're hovering around 7.04% right now for a 30-year fixed. Applications to refinance a home were 7% lower from the previous week and down from 1 week a year ago. Applications for mortgage to purchase a home dropped 5% for the week, and we're 12% lower from last year. So still real estate market still just kind of chilling.
Yep. So we're going to see. I know a lot of people, that are getting hit pretty hard right now in real estate. I know a lot of people that were real heavily into syndications or heavy into, the big commercial properties. They're hurting. And I pray for them. I hope that we come out of that, and I hope they can kind of get a handle on it, but it's not a good picture. But then residential real estate's still going through the roof. I mean, I see houses in my neighborhood get listed and they're gone in 2 days, which blows my freaking mind. One other thing too, as we close today out, I was kind of disappointed. So on TikTok, the whole time I'm just kind of watching the feeds and trying to watch everybody's feeds. So we had a viewer on TikTok with the name Maneater. I just was hoping Maneater would have commented, but they didn't, because that could be a cool conversation. Maneater. Stephen, why don't you close us out for this episode of What the F Happened Maneater style?
The world's crazy, man. All you can do is control what you can control. And that's what this weekend's all about with the Money School 3 days. So it's streaming across the bottom of the screen, moneyschooltraining.com/registration. Get signed up. If you can't be there, miss some of it, we record the entire thing. We send you the recordings right after, time stamped. We're bringing on a bunch of experts. We're going to be going deep on the infinite banking concept, controlling your money, things you can do right now to prepare for all the craziness in the world that we can't control. And let's face it, the stock market could crash tomorrow. The real estate market could crash. Bitcoin could go to the moon. All that stuff is out of our control. All we can do is educate ourselves, take some action, and prepare for, the best. What do they say? Prepare for the worst, but expect the best. Yeah. So let's do that. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Today was a fun show. Always wild and crazy news out there, and we'll get the party started at 1:00 today on Wealth Webinar.
Yeah, and also one other thing too, for the 3-day weekend, I've got this opportunity that literally landed in my lap 2 days ago. It might be one of the best opportunities I've ever seen. The only people that are going to know about that opportunity are the folks that join us for the 3-day, because it's that good. So I'll be announcing that. It won't last. It'll probably take 3 or 4 minutes for the opportunity to be gone, because it's not huge, but it is a massive, massive move in the right direction for some of you. So hopefully we'll see you on the 3-day training. And for the rest of you, we'll see you this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern. Register by going to chrisnaugle.com. And you can just click and register and get 3 books for free just for joining, even if you don't join. We'll see you then. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.